I was about to say in the Grimdarks of the far future. God damn, I'm so used to saying that after 60 times. The end times are nigh, or so they say, but tonight the Empire endures. Welcome to the Grimdark Chronicles, our playthrough of The Enemy Within, the hallowed, vaunted, semi-famous campaign for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. I'm your GM Brad, joined tonight by Alex playing Luca, Mike playing Kroppa, Kyle playing Segemund, and Eric playing Wolfhart, the I can't stop grabbing everything that's not bolted down.
Sticky hands.
Which I need to ask the party if we want to keep the blunderbuss or should I sell it?
Forgot you had a fucking blunderbuss still.
None of us can fire it.
Before you decide if you want to buy or sell that, you should know that blunderbusses are illegal for our neighbors to the north, and they sponsor this entire show, so you might want to get rid of it. Thank you to the gentlemen over at Darkforge Media for creating our intro video and sponsoring the entire season of the Grimdark Chronicles. If you liked our intro video and you have any future projects, go check out their website, show them some love, just like they show us some love. And beyond that, let's talk about what happened last time in the Empire. So, Wolfhart, I think I just need to start with a segment of what did you steal last time? We've got 4 days of rations, 2 bottles of wine, a blunderbuss. Well, you didn't steal the blunderbuss, but you managed to acquire a blunderbuss, a set of chainmail, ammo and powder for the blunderbuss, more jewelry from the Lady Isolde after you stopped a thief. You got a lot. But what happened last time was y'all made your way into Altdorf, the gleaming white jewel, the largest city in the Empire. And as you got closer, you realized that, you know, like everything else, the beauty of Altdorf was a bit of a facade or a mirage. The city itself is overcrowded. It is busy. It is absolutely massively teeming with people. When you reached the Königplatz and got off of the carriage, the coach from Ratchet Lines, you watched as the Emperor marched through the Königplatz, accompanied by the first Reichland Foot, the Imperial Guard, and members of the Reichsguard, the elite cavalry unit that guard the Emperor and fight alongside Karl Franz. You heard some people saying, you know, it's so good to see how healthy he is, to see him doing this for the 3rd time this week. And then you heard somebody yelling, "Stop, thief." Luca, Wolfhart, you took off after this individual, catching him, barely, and found a kid who had stolen jewelry from the Lady Isolde and taken off through the crowd. Wolfhart, you gave the kid a ring before taking a few more pieces out of that bag for yourself and returning what was left to the Lady Isolde, to the tune of 1 crown, thank you, and a bit of a distasteful, I can't believe I'm saying this, but if ever I need you, I would love to be able to call on you again, before you elected to, with no plan of reconvening, split the party, with Wolfhart and Luca going off to sell these pilfered rings.
We have a plan.
And Segemund and Kroppa going off to try to, after some deliberation, look at the building where you saw these individuals who gave Kroppa a weird scratching symbol, where after they had given that symbol, you saw them go into this building. So you were debating on going to look into that. However, Segemund, Kroppa, it is evening. Sun is going down. The skies above Altdorf are a beautiful reddish pink. And you hear a voice go, "Segemund, my old friend, how are you?" And I'm going to say, for the sake of argument, I'm going to guarantee the 4 of you have a plan to meet somewhere, just so we don't spend an entire session of you 4 chasing each other around Altdorf.
I would imagine we would pick like a tavern that we'd meet up at later in the evening.
Right. That's kind of my thought.
Do I recognize this fella?
You do. You recognize him in the sense of it's definitely someone that you've seen in the past. Specifically, it's a friendly face. It's the old sailor Joseph. Now, while you yourself are not a riverman per se, some of your tutelage or studying of law involved working on contracts for different boatmen, including the friend of a friend, or the friend of your father, one of the two, old Joseph Quartrain, the captain of the Bear Belly, a barge that plies trades up and down the rivers. Maybe you've met and ran into him in a tavern here in Altdorf amongst your studies. Maybe you ran into him in a tavern somewhere else. I don't know. But you've known the man for years. You've helped him for some maybe some deal contracts in the past, and he knows you. And he is very excited to see you. He comes up, cheeks flushed, grinning, and claps you on the shoulders and goes, I didn't think I'd be seeing you again. Not for years. How's the school treating you?
The books are as heavy as ever, Joseph.
You'll have to tell me all about it. And he throws his arm around you without even asking and starts turning you. Now, you know that Joseph is a prodigious drinker. He's slapping you on the chest going, we should go grab some ale and catch up. Who's your friend?
This is my associate, Kroppa.
Kroppa.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Throws his other arm around you, Kroppa, and starts dragging you both a little bit. And he goes, he's coming with us, too.
I don't move.
Maybe he's not. He lets go, and he goes...
Where are we eating?
Oh, there's many places down the House of 1,000 Taverns.
I suggest the one that we said we were going to meet at. Name slips me, but
let's say that you guys were planning to meet. Oh, let's see. I mean, you could have met at the Mermaid, but the Mermaid has a penchant for brawling.
I think we pick someone a little more low-key.
One that Segemund would know. The Wayfarer's Rest. It's a bar of students. It's on the House of 1,000 Taverns. It's cheap quality, but it, gets there. So, he, as you say that, Kroppa, he goes, we can go to the Wayfarers to start. Why not? Why not? There's a better one we'll go to, but if we need to meet your friends first, we can head that way. And then we'll take them down to the Boatman. Really have a great old time. And Segemund, you've been to the Boatman with Joseph. You don't walk out of there sober. It's almost impossible.
So,
not when you're with Joseph.
So before Kroppa releases the brakes, so to speak, did we get a chance to glance over at that building that we were trying to look at? Or
you didn't make it too far, but you got close enough to see that it is. I mean this when I say it. It's nondescript.
Completely nondescript. Okay. I just wasn't sure if there was anything for us to catch. So
it is just another house, another building among the hundreds that cram around these plazas that are just. I don't want to say nuts to butts, but it's like row housing. They're slammed on top of each other.
Okay. Well, if there's nothing for us to glean from it, then I'll gladly get pulled along by Joseph.
Sure. So you begin to make your way, and he begins to pull you all into the street of 100 taverns. And this is a slightly downward grade from the Königplatz. And it is known to be raucous. Now, while every district has their taverns, you want to stay in the market district, there's taverns. You want to stay over by the palace, there are taverns. Nobody in a city the size of Altdorf, nobody wants to walk the length and breadth of the city to go get an ale. But given the filth that floats within the Reich, given the filth that floats within the water, given how many people are crammed into a city like this, I mean, again, think medieval Europe, it's no surprise that people like to drink ale over the water. Because it's the only way of knowing that it's not completely disgusting. So, two things of note. Now, I mentioned that that Altdorf sat amongst two rivers, and I had said it was definitely the Reich, and I thought the other for a second was the Stur, but I was wrong. It was the Talabek. I told you I would look into it. The Talabek and the Reich come together to create the area that Altdorf sits upon. And more so, as you look at the Street of 100 Taverns, it is a beast in and of itself. The street has the docklands, which is where all the stevedores and others would live, work, etc., to the east, and the University of Altdorf to the west. It is crowded with people, and as you begin to navigate your way down to this narrow street, there are carts and wagons dropping casks of ale at numerous facilities. You pass by, the Black Bat, the Blue Lantern, Bruno's Brewhouse. You pass by the Drunken Bastard, the Hammer and Bucket, and you find your way to the Wayfarer's Rest. It's nothing immaculate. A small set of stairs, just 2 to 3 steps, step up to a door, arched portal. And as it swings open, the noise from within rolls out. You hear the looming boom of voices of individuals who think of a college bar. Think of the rolling conversation outside of class, and it's that. It is people talking about what they're doing at the university. There are what are very obviously wizards or wizard apprentices in the corner debating something. There are members of the churches debating theology. There are people who don't want to debate anything and are just there getting absolutely hammered because it's the evening and they're out of class. As you walk in, the bartender of the Wayfarer's Rest is a lithe woman, tight gray bun. And she looks up at Segemund. You know her. Her name, for all intents and purposes, has always been Mother to all of the students, but her actual name is Helena. And she looks up and she goes, "Ah, Segemund. Bringing more guests, I see. Usual, perhaps?"
Of course.
Perfect. Now, old Mother doesn't remember much. What is your usual these days?
I'll take whatever the cheapest ale she has is.
That's what I figured. So she draws 3 flagons of ale. The ale here, the ale in most locations, watered down. Student ale. She sets them on and she goes, "Same as always. First round's on me, but you have to buy 2 more." Ale's only 2 pennies a stein here because it is watered down. She sets them down and she goes, Need any food, dear? Hopefully not a room. You didn't get kicked out of the dorms again, did you?"
No room. And I'm okay.
I'd like a
food,
plate.
But I look over at Kroppa.
Plate? I can do that. She takes one look at you, Kroppa looks at your fare and goes, "I'll give you a sample first, but let's call it like it is. It's pretty much shit food."
Sure.
All right. She goes back and comes back with a small plate, a couple sausages, little stale bread. It's very much cheap food. Like I said, this place it gives off the air of cheap. The interior, the paint is peeling. The wood is kind of rotting in places. It doesn't smell bad. It just smells like, imagine any bar that you went to between the ages of 19 and 24. I mean, 21 and 24.
Local academic delicacies, and I tuck right in. I do not.
I think about, Mike, you know what I think about is Dell's. When we went to the concert and we went to see Korn, and it was you, me, your brother. I think about that kind of fare where the floor is a little sticky, the beer's a little shitty, the food is just, it's there so you don't get sick on beer.
Crap is maxing.
All right.
That sounds like a lovely time.
We will jump back to Joseph and team in a minute. Wolfhart, Luca, having sold to Oswald. Wolfhart, I know you were picking up lockpicks and rope. That's fine. Hand wave.
I'm actually going to do more selling and shopping.
Okay, what do you want to do?
Selling the blunderbuss to someone. So basically, I'm going to go find a weaponsmith of some kind that would be able to buy the blunderbuss for me and the shot powder.
Oh, you're going to make me pull out my actual rule book.
Yeah, and I'm also going to look to get a mace.
Mace is easy. Cost.
Yeah.
It's Altdorf. Everything's at cost. So for sale, just so you know, for sale perspectives, at most you're going to get, most people are going to try to give you 50% at most because they have to turn around and resell a used item.
Yeah.
For a blunderbuss,
It's 2 gold crowns, I believe.
it is. From a conditional perspective, yeah, you can get a crown for that. Someone will give you a crown for the blunderbuss and the powder and the shot all in one.
25 silver.
Yeah. I'll haggle to push that up.
Roll a haggle.
14 under, what was that? Skills haggle. 14 under 34.
How much time are you willing to spend trying to sell it?
A decent amount.
If you're willing to invest the time, most people turn you away for any push of haggling on used blunderbuss weapons, things like that, mainly because of 2 things. Number one, even the people who sell them don't necessarily perfectly understand if they're good condition until they're tested. Number 2 is most people really don't want to have used items for long. So if you're willing to spend, I'd say, an hour and a half wandering and talking to different sellers and merchants, yeah, you can get to 25 silver. Otherwise, everybody's going to give you gold.
Would my assistance help? I rolled a haggle just in case.
Oh, what was your haggle?
+3, it's on there.
+3 and +3. Cut
Plus
the time to an
2
hour.
and +3.
Cut the time
Cool.
to an hour.
Okay. I will do that. I'm going to buy a mace, and then I'm going to actually give Alex my hand weapon, the sword.
Luca
Who's
ends up
Alex?
with the sword.
Luca, sorry.
Sick.
So Luca, you still have
It's
a sword.
very
despite
generous
the
of
fact
you. Thank
that
you.
You were borrowing one from despite the fact that you were borrowing one from a guard.
I would have given the sword back to
I figured.
whatever his name was. The
Holtz.
Holt. Yeah, I remember Gunner. I can't remember this other guy's name.
Well, Gunner's dead.
Well, that's the sword that I
R.I.P.
currently have is Gunner's
So
sword.
you have Gunner's sword now.
Yeah.
Now you have Gunner's sword. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Any other shopping adventure for you two?
Nope, that's going to be a thing.
Okay.
All right, no.
So Sigmund, Kroppa, here's why their time matters. That is more time that Joseph has you under his thumb.
Nah.
So
We got a drink.
you got a drink.
All right, let's do this.
All right, so gents, here's what's going to happen. Wolfhart and Luca. Total shopping adventure. Finding Oswald's, selling the rings, selling the rest of the gear by 2 hours and 15 minutes, start to finish, from the time you left them until the time you find them. Kroppa, Sigmund. 30 minutes after those two walked away, not even. We'll say 30 minutes for sake of argument. 30 minutes after those two had left you, you were with Joseph in the bar, which means you got an hour and a half. For the sake of argument and conversation, we'll call it 2 ales. Unless you think, Kroppa, with your prodigious girth, unless you think you'd consume 3 in an hour and a half.
That's for food.
Okay. So what I'd like each of you to do is, it's watered ale, so it's not hard. But I need an easy +40 consume alcohol test. Luca, what were you going to say?
I just want to make sure the sword that I got, there's 3 options in Up in Arms for sword. Sword,
Yep.
small sword, bastard sword. I'm assuming just sword.
It's a sword.
Sword.
Just making sure.
Small sword is like a short sword. Bastard sword is like a two-handed.
The big ass sword, yeah. Got it.
Different than a Zweihander, but yes. Okay. How do we do on these rules, gents? Let's see.
+3 and +7.
Nice. Okay, so yeah, neither of you have any issue, the beer being a little watery. Joseph begins chatting with you, mostly asking questions about what you're doing in Altdorf, things like that. Do you share with him anything about what you're doing in Altdorf, or is it just kind of a deflecting game of, here's where we're just in town?
Keep it high level.
Okay. As that happens, Joseph kind of says to you, and he goes, well, we're in town. We're heading down to Bogenhafen very quickly here. Leaving tomorrow, actually, for the Schaffenfest. And looks to you, Sigmund, he goes, you two don't happen to be going there, do you? Got a little room, could take you with. Actually, could use the hand. He looks at Kroppa, he goes, maybe not. But Sigmund, if your other friends are up for work, I got room for 2 other deckhands. Just to get some things down, I could use an extra couple set of hands to get the boat down. Make sure that we make it with our fully laden hull if you are interested.
How much are you going to be paying, Joseph?
Oh, you know that I'm a fair and equitable man. I'd start with 1 and you'd start with 3 and we'd end up at 2 silver a day.
Brad,
Why don't we cut all the rest of it out and start at 2 silver a day? Yes, sir.
I'm looking for it. Where is Ubersreich in relation to Altdorf and Bogenhaven?
Oh, let's go to the Reichland map.
It's a ways away, no?
Yeah. Okay, I see Bogenhaven.
So from Bogenhafen, if you want to get to Ubersreich, you need to go way to the southeast.
Yeah.
All the way south of...
Oh, way down there. Okay.
Way down there.
But, okay, so that's in the direction-ish of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Ubersreich is... So from Altdorf. Yeah, so like if you're looking...
We're
Altdorf is
trying to
easy
go to
see.
Bogenhafen, right? Which
Trying to
is
go to
over-
Bogenhafen.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just curious because that was referenced in the inheritance that I'm now doing. So
Yes, so Ubersreich would be where the lands are outside of. So
Right.
the area...
I'm more concerned of us getting too close to it if we're gonna be
no.
playing this game of
Yeah, you are
impersonating a
plenty
dude.
far away. So,
Okay.
So Sigmund, as you two kind of negotiate that, he kind of fills you in a bit about that, shares a bit, and he asks if you're aware of the Schaffenfest. And as you're getting to this part of the conversation, Luca, Wolfhart, you two walk into this very obviously university heavy bar. At this point, the five of you are standing out like a sore thumb that this is not a place. Well, Sigmund, you'd still fit in, but the rest of you probably would never find yourselves here unless you really wanted to be. But as you kind of make your way over, Luca, Wolfhart, Joseph introduces himself, shares a bit of what he shared with Sigmund and Kroppa, says he's, looking for a couple hands to help him run a boat down to Bogenhafen, and shares this lovely handout that talks about Schaffenfest. And he's got a copy of it kind of tucked into his tunic. It's a little crinkled up, covered in some sweat stains. Puts it on the table, looks around really quickly and goes, right, so I see that at least a couple of you probably can't read either, but essentially what this says is that the Schaffenfest will be opening soon, beginning in Mitterfruhl and lasting for 3 days. It's a huge, huge festival. Great time. The city swells in number of people, but more so than that is it's a great time for me to make a bit of money. So if you're interested in going, and I do recommend you check it out, would never be a bad idea, and I'm happy to employ at least 2 of you. You might even be able to see the Graf himself. Old Wilhelm once upon a time.
I mean, I don't know what the rest of the party thinks, but I don't know where our plans are. If we head in that direction, I'm up for some work. As long as it pays.
Any of us would be up for making some extra coin.
Well, I tell you what. Sigmund, Luca, Wolfhart, if the 3 of you are willing to put some calluses on your hands, I'll pay you 2 silver a day each. And your lovely lord here, Mr. Kroppa, can just ride along for free. Keep those hands nice and soft.
Let's go.
I trust you will also keep his belly soft, will you not? You'll feed us as well?
Oh, yes. Good. Hands are paid and fed. Little communal space for you to sleep, but it at least get the trip done, get you by. It's not huge pay, I understand, but I've got a nice hold of Reichland wine I want to get sold.
Is that drugs?
Sounds good to me. I mean,
Well, I guess you could call wine a drug, sure.
A wine? I thought you said a vine.
I might have.
You got that
slipped
vine?
in an
No.
Might have accidentally slipped in a German W there.
Vine.
If you're up for it, look. Here's the thing. If you're up for it, well, we're making our way to another inn after this one anyway. But you can stay on the boat this evening for free.
This actually is a very good question. I kind of lean in a little bit.
He leans in with you.
You don't have any contraband on the boat, right? You're not.
Oh, no. We don't.
This is an important question. I know people around here. They do not like that. So I don't want to be part of that.
You don't know me very well yet, sir, but good Sigmund does, and I don't dabble in dalliances of smuggling.
Joseph, how many stops between here and Bogenhaven do you think we're gonna make?
It should only be a few. Just quick pilot down. We'll have to pay a couple tolls, but if the winds are with us and if Manon guides us well, we should be there within 2, maybe 3 days.
Okay.
If I'm seeing it right, we take the Bogen down, and then after that, if we were to decide to go to Ubersreich, it'd be likely in carriage from that point on.
Oh, yes. If you want to go to Ubersreich from Bogenhafen, there's you could theoretically take some of the smaller rivers, but eventually you'd end up at, like, Amschensee. After that point, it's just better by land.
Okay. I mean, the way Sigmund's probably looking at this is if knowing in the back of his mind that we have that potential payout in Ubersreich with Kroppa's lookalike,
Payout is waiting for you in Bogenhofen. Lands are outside of Ubersreich.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, well then, shit.
Yeah, I was
gets us to
confused in
Bogen
that,
and
too.
gets us paid. Yeah, I was just rereading it. I just saw Ubersreich.
Yeah, so long story short, is if you were to leave Altdorf, you'd port your way down the Weissbruck Canal, which has a toll to tax, but it's the fastest waterway, and it was created to essentially cut tax revenue out of Karaberg and Marienburg. You'd take that to Weissbruck, which would be the stop. Day one stop should be Weissbruck, again, assuming all goes well. You might have to stop along the canal if not. But then from Weissbruck down past Castle Grauenberg, you take the Bogen River itself straight to Bogenhafen. That should be, again, just another day or two. Most barges move about 4 yards every few seconds, so it's got a movement speed of 4. Now, having just spent some time on a boat sailing is slow. You do not move at 80 miles an hour. You move at like 12 or 15.
Sure.
That said, the Weissbruck Canal from Altdorf to Weissbruck is 60 miles. Then it goes down to Bogenhafen, so I'm going to guess 2 to 3 days. I'm sure there's another note somewhere in this book that I've forgotten that'll come back to me soon.
It seems totally reasonable to move 20 miles a day on the water.
Yeah.
That seems totally doable.
Well, it'd be more than that. So from Altdorf to Weissbruck alone is 60.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the total trip was 60.
No, the total trip is more like probably about 120 miles.
So at least 2 days.
Still 2 to 3 days with, again, water conditions being good, everything being good. You know, you should be able to do that in a few days.
Okay.
So I would say, knowing that Yosef is trustworthy and likely to actually pay us and feed us along the way, it'd be a good way for us to get to Bogenhafen and make coin along the way, if that is where we want to head once we're done in Altdorf, which I'm assuming is probably
I'll say,
the case.
I don't know what we're really...
Yeah, I don't think we
Haven't
have
done.
anything to do in
Yeah,
Altdorf.
that's it, right? Is just chasing down our inheritance, essentially. Yeah.
Currently.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I guess we did
Chasing
have
down
that,
your what?
We got to go do the
We get those
dots,
vials,
the
vial
vials
things
at the
to
dock.
yeah,
go deal with that.
but that's here.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's here in Altdorf.
Yeah,
Which we got to do that and then before we head out. But
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
So-
the plan.
Joseph, having chatted about this with you at the Wayfarer, having met you all together, says, Good. Now let's go to my favorite place. And he starts kind of ushering all of you out and steering you down the street of 100 taverns towards the Boatman Inn, which is it's the inn on the water. It's at the edge of the street of 100 taverns. It is facing the river itself. It is a very common stop for anyone who works along the water, stevedores, dockmasters, etc. As he's doing so, and as you're walking down, a strange individual comes lumbering up to you all, clothed in rags, munching with slightly stubbed teeth on potato peels. And as he sees you all, he spits a few of that and he goes, reaches out with you with 2 hands, hair pulled straight back, almost like a little bit of coal under his eyes, like they're like almost rimmed in black. And he goes, I see darkness gathering as the last house of joy falls. Beware, for the shadows over Bogenhofen stir. The beloved more resplendent investments of green stands aside Sigmar's great river. Yea, I see death on the Reich, and I despair. For then the stained hand guides the once mighty lord, and this power behind the throne curses us all. Lo, the horned rat then claims the broken king atop his throne of lies, and the white walls fall, leaving our empire in ruins. Tremble in fear, you mighty. And as he says this, his voice is like rising to a crescendo, and he screams out, the end times have come! And he kind of falls to the ground in front of all of you, shaking just a bit. Joseph goes, well, that was one of the better ones I've seen in a while. The head pops up immediately, like out of excitement, goes, Oh, you think so? Really, I thought it was a bit lackluster, a little off kilter. Maybe not my best performance.
Who are you?
Are you mocking doomsayers and the gods?
Oh, no,
I take a little bit of offense to that.
No. Name's Abernathy. Doomsayer extraordinaire here along the street of 100 taverns.
Then what do you mean performance? You do not perform.
Well, yeah. Look. What we shared, you shouldn't believe most of it. It's a show we put on for coin. It's how I eat and feed myself day to day. Bit of a, I was a bit of a performer back in the day.
I'm gonna puff up slightly.
It's a coin. Let me regale you with mine then, and I'm gonna counter right into my full speech. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and get him hooked up with the book club. Fuck this charlatan.
I guess I'm gonna kind of stomp off. That
Okay.
rubbed me the
Luca,
wrong
you
way.
stomp off. Kroppa, you start talking about Verena.
I'm gonna.
I'm following Luca. I'm getting out of here.
Wolfhart walks away. Joseph tosses a silver to him, and he just kind of takes it, bites it, and goes, "Joseph, you're a saint," and tucks it into a pouch.
Out
Joseph-
here
Joseph's
using
laughing
the
as he
gods
walks
for
away, he goes,
coins.
Oh, old Abernathy's been plying that trade for years, ever since his hat store failed.
Now, once the squares leave, is does this dude give off a vibe like he's trying to fuck people over? Or this is just his shtick.
It's a shtick.
Okay.
He even says to you as you start puffing up, he goes, look, I just say whatever pops into my head. Keeps the pilgrims happy.
Kroppa is not so much concerned about what you say. I'm more concerned about what you hear. And,
What would you like to know?
Well, oh shit. Okay. Damn it, where did my note go for this?
Oh, my plan is working. Shit.
I wasn't prepared for this
yeah.
at all.
No. Here we go. Yeah. So, shifting from the Verena Book Club, I am going to explain to him this other endeavor I have called the Verena Information Consortium. And
Bring on the Vic Vapor up. What do we got?
Yes, sir.
Essentially, he can become a member free of charge. It's not a paid service. And if we come into contact, or when we come into contact again, essentially, if he can provide any actionable intelligence that I would deem useful, or things like that, I would pay him for that information. The more valuable the information, the juicier the tidbits, the more money that could potentially be worth. And the real cool piece of this is it would then be in his best interest to also enroll members into the consortium. And the more members he acquires leads to more wealth as well.
So it's a pyramid scheme.
Sir,
I just want to,
Settle
I'm
down.
standing over the shoulder of Kroppa here, and I'm pulling out a member agreement, essentially, and say the acquisition of new members strengthens the consortium's collective knowledge and influence, and those who successfully bring in new participants shall gain increased standing and favor within said consortium.
Also, we're selling Herbalife if you want.
You see as he pauses and he goes, "So I get paid for telling you things. But how do I get paid if I make other people tell me things? Do I have to pay them? Is there like a monthly stipend here?"
You get favor with the goddess Verena. Favor you can leverage.
I much prefer coin or ale, because Sigmar is my god. Nothing more against Verena, but look, old chap, at the end of the day, I tried doing things in this whole grassroots fashion. That's how my hat store didn't make it. And that's why I'm
so
now sitting
here's
here
the
in a
thing.
corner eating potato peels.
How many ears do you have?
2.
Okay. Would you hear more with 20? Would you
Of course I
hear
would.
juicier tidbits of information with 2 or with 20 ears? This is the
Okay.
benefit to you.
Yes,
Because you get
understood,
paid
but how
nothing
do
if
they
you
get paid?
provide ass.
And how do they get paid?
Well, when they bring you information, if it's
To provide
bullshit,
to you who
you
I
pay
may
nothing.
never see again?
Exactly. It's no skin off your back.
I have to convince people to give me things to maybe
You
give
don't
to you
have
that
to
I might
convince them with you just merely tell them if they want to provide information and get paid for it, the opportunity exists.
I do like this. Buy me an ale, let's talk about it. And he, at this point, has hooked his arm around your arm and is trying to tug you along. Failing. He's about a third of your size.
I'm scoffing at the bar that maybe his hat store would have succeeded if he didn't mock the gods.
Let's talk more on your boat.
I don't have a boat. Am I on the boat? I'll come on the boat.
Oh shit!
So-
Other
It's
dude.
not Joseph.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
at this
it is.
point, Brad, if I'm noticing he's kind of catching wise to what Kroppa's trying to do,
Okay.
I want to throw a blather check
Okay.
and confuse the hell out of him.
I'll add that he's not catching wise.
He's not. Okay, well then I'll leave
No,
it.
no.
Leave it be.
The confusion I'm sharing is his confusion of how do I pay people to bring me information if I don't see you again? He's just not sure how this makes him money yet.
Doesn't stop people from joining.
No, of course not.
Yeah, it's
He
free
just
to
said,
join.
"Buy me an
Like,
ale
he
and let's
doesn't
talk
have
about it."
to.
Listen,
He's
the more
75% of the way
information
there.
you get, the more information you get paid for, which means you can then pay them for the information they bring you. It's
Buy
called
me-
downstreaming.
Buy me some ale and let's talk about downstream informationism.
Sure, I'll buy him a drink.
As you, Kroppa, he'll end up with you guys. So as you guys all end up at the Boatman.
Thank you, salesman. I don't sell shit. I just came up with the zany idea.
I like it. It's a good idea. So you guys head to the end of the street of 100 taverns, and the Boatman Inn is like many other bars, fairly nondescript. The sign hanging above it is literally a man standing in a boat that is partially sinking. Think Johnny Depp, Pirates of the Caribbean 1, pulling up to the dock. It's about what the sign looks like. It's a little tatty. It's a little run down. The windows are a little tarnished, but looks inviting. And as the door swings open, you see that it is full to the brim. Stevedores, dock hands, boat workers, everything. They're all drinking and laughing. It is the perfect epitome and the perfect vibe of a busy tavern on a standard night. Songs are being sung, music is playing, drinks are flying quick. The manic preacher steps in the door with you, Kroppa. And the room goes quiet for about a half of a heartbeat, just long enough where you could hear a pin drop. And suddenly from behind the bar you hear, "Abernathy, you old goat, get in here!" He's like, "Oh, how did you know this was my favorite bar?" The food and drink is good. It's better than where you were prior. The ale is legitimate. It's not watered down. Joseph begins a tap and sits you all down and says, 5 ales and 5 more ales every time my ale is empty until such time that we have to be rolled out of here. And the bartender goes, "Joseph, do not make
That's
me roll you out
happening.
of here again. No, Fritz. We will drink the barrel dry, and I will roll my way to my boat. Look, it's right there. The Barabelli," and he points. The Barabelli is right there at the end of the dock. It's perfect. Perfect. Abernathy joins you for one, Kroppa, per the promise of a drink. And he shares with you a couple little pieces. He goes, "I think I understand how this works. So let's share a little. Have you heard about the zoo?"
No.
Good. I have this. Okay. Altdorf's zoo holds the Emperor's griffin, Deathclaw. It's going berserk. Hasn't seen... They're saying the Emperor hasn't seen him in weeks. But Deathclaw apparently tried to kill numerous people at the zoo. It was a horrible massacre. Actually, I should write that into my next calling of the end times. Griffin's Rampage. That'd be good. That would be good. What else? That's along the line of what you want, right? News? Good news? Important
news is great.
News?
We can share news among friends. If the news becomes a bit more than news, then we talk price. Now, you were talking about benefits for you in the length of time between us meeting.
Yes.
How do you decide which areas to ply your trade? Do you just wander about, or?
Oh no. I tend to hang and focus my works around the Great Temple, the Street of 100 Taverns, and the Königsplatz. Königsplatz is the main place where all the pilgrims end up first. House of 100 Taverns, well, let's be honest, everyone drinks.
And you go there because they seem to be a bit more receptive, or?
Just a higher chance of running into people who will put coin in my hand, absolutely.
Okay, so right there, higher chance of getting coin into your hand. That's exactly what more information could buy you in my absence.
I think I understand this. Okay.
So far, all I'm hearing is benefits.
Well, then let me give you another piece. Told you about the zoo. Did you know the Emperor has a sister?
I did not. I just arrived.
She's locked out.
Croppa does not know many things.
She's locked up in a madhouse north of Altdorf. It's called the Great Hospice.
And this is who? Emperor's who? Sister? You said?
The Emperor Karl Franz has a sister. She's in the Great Hospice. It's a madhouse north of the city. Unfortunately, that's all I know. But he finishes his drink. He goes, I will learn more, and I will find you here again. Maybe.
Mm-hmm. We know enough about. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay. He begins wandering his way through the bar, and as he does, you see as people are grabbing him and like giving him ales, and he's drinking with them, laughing. A couple coins pass from him to others, back and forth. And as he reaches the edge of the door, he looks back. He goes, "Farewell, everyone. Remember, the doom is upon us." And he walks back out into the streets. Joseph will continue to just provide food and drink until such time that y'all all stagger off to his boat. Is there anything you want to do before that happens?
Do we want to go try to do the vial thing?
We want to do
Wrong?
it's late, or do you want to try and do it the next day during the day?
I don't know when Joseph is planning on heading out. I forget. I missed that part.
Joseph is heading out first thing in the morning.
Yeah, so we probably got to do it tonight. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So first and foremost, real quick though, because food and ale has been consumed, everyone, give me an easy plus 40 consume alcohol test.
No.
Yeah.
That's plus 4.
Plus 5.
I take it back. Plus
Plus-
3. I can't do math.
What did I do? Plus 4.
Luca, at least your die are holding out as long as they need to. All right. So you all feel okay. You tell Joseph that you have to go deal with a little business. He says, "Great. Yeah. Just meet me back here. We'll finish drinking until the night is over." And now you guys are heading out to look for the doctor, huh?
Yep. Dr. Schmidt.
Good old Dr. Schmidt. Good old Herr Schmidt. So, talk to me about the plan here. Are you just looking for him to try to return his stuff or sell his stuff? What are you trying to do?
Imagine we're probably just going to gossip to see if we can find his location and then go do the deed of selling this stuff to him.
Okay.
I'm game for some gossip.
Same.
Okay.
Did
Well,
we
you know
have
that he's
any?
at the University of Altdorf. So that's an easy enough thing. Or do you just want to make your way to the university?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me...
Fuck, we should have asked about that in the last bar we were in.
Okay. So the university is not far. I mean, it's not exactly close per se, because you are down. So for lack of a better phrase, you guys are like down here where I'm pinging. Oh, if it lets me ping. Here we go. You guys are down here at the end of the street of 100 taverns drinking. The university is a few blocks away. It is late,
Yes,
but you
not
make
too
your way
far.
there. As you approach the university, there's a couple things you need to know about the university itself, because it is a amazingly beautiful building. So Altdorf, the university, is a conglomeration of 5 different colleges. Law, Segemund, you know this. Medicine, military history, alchemy, and then bestiaria, animals. It also has the School of Magic, not associated with the university itself, but not far away. The actual complex is seen as like a wonder of the empire. It has 5 entrances. It has a sprawling maze, and Segemund, you know this from going there, of different lecture halls, dormitories, office buildings. There are staircases that connect to all of these multi-tiered quads that are both, high and low within the space, that are, covered with students hurrying to class in the day. At night, it's pretty quiet.
And it looks kind of mid on the map, but I'll take your word for it.
Fair. So you make your way there. And if you were to look, you're looking around for this Dr. Schmidt. Who's gonna try to head this action?
I don't know, Segemund, you and I want to do that?
Segemund's probably the most familiar with.
Yeah, I was going to say, I could
I'm-
probably try and navigate the best.
Pretty good gossiper. I'll follow you around. Start asking folks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys make your way to one of the entrances, and Segemund, you know that the entrances to the university close at curfew. Curfew's not for a couple hours, but it's getting closer. The porters, the guards, see you, kind of give a wave, and you know your way in. So you make your way in and begin chatting. You could even ask the porters right then and there if you wanted to. So what I'd love is actually just give me the gossip check now, please. And we'll say that it's going to be at a average plus 20.
Plus 20. Plus 5.
Plus 4.
Okay. So with a plus 5 and a plus 4, you find that there, for lack of a better term, there is a Dr. Schmidt in Altdorf. He is a professor teaching at the School of Medicine. And he has an office not far off of one of the main quads. You're guided there. You're given the directions to get there. Winding your way through these multi-tiered quads and kind of cutting through a couple different spaces, it takes about 10 minutes. You find yourselves outside of a wooden portal, like a wooden door, that has Herr Schmidt on a plaque next to it. So Segemund, you can read. Kroppa, you can read. You can both see that. The door itself...
I cannot.
Kroppa can't read? Oh,
Fuck
God.
no.
So Segemund, you're the only reader.
The
Segemund,
only
you can
one.
read it. The door itself has an iconography of like a mortar and pestle burned into the wood. Below that is also the symbol of like a medical symbol, the twin snakes around a staff kind of thing. There are no external windows or no windows to see into the space, but you would know that this, having noted, this would be like an office, and quite honestly, there's probably a living space off of the office for the professor as well.
Sure.
But the door's shut.
No light coming from windows?
There's no windows because it is a wall of the university. So you're like on an interior wall looking at a door that would go to a space that then has exterior walls, which would have windows.
Gotcha.
Do you just want to knock?
Yeah.
Knock, knock, knock.
Rap.
You hear a voice go, "Who is it at this ungodly hour?"
I would introduce myself just as a student, saying that I think we have items that belong to him and we'd like to return them.
You hear a couple bolts being thrown. The door swings open. The door opens on, obviously, the office space of the professor. The office has a couple of high windows along one wall. The space itself is pretty dim, though. He's only barely lit a couple candles. His desk is covered in scrolls of parchment. In front of you stands a very thin, older man. Dark black hair pulled back into a tight bun. Thin black goatee and mustache. His eyes are almost kind of sunken a little bit. And he looks fatigued, and he looks to you and he goes, all right, well, you mentioned you have a package for me. Or something that you think was mine. Where'd you find it?
I'll start pulling out my sack with the things in there and be like, from a former student of yours.
Oh! He takes one of the vials, gives it a swirl. Well, there's the nose out right there. Excellent. These I was waiting for these to arrive from Metallica. When did they? Where did you meet my student?
In Back in the Road.
What was his name?
Out of character, I don't honestly remember right now.
Ernst, yep.
He kind of looks at you and he goes, I don't know an Ernst, but right. Well, I was waiting on these. I'm 1, 2, 3, 4.
He was studying
6.
leeches.
Leeches?
I think we all know he wasn't.
I'm not going to tell him, we were consorting with fucking demons, though.
He looks at you and he goes, I don't know anything about someone studying leeches, per se. But again, I requested these quite some time ago. He may have been an unwitting courier. He's not one of my students. But if he was a student here at the university, he may have just been asked to make a delivery on behalf of an old colleague of mine, Lady Atelka. She was always very, very helpful to me. That said, there were supposed to be 6 files. I only see 4. Did we
have
lose?
5.
Oh, so there's supposed to be 7 then, because 2 broke. Either way, whether 7 to 5 or 6 to 4, 2 of them broke.
Okay. Yeah, I have 5 marked down as how many we have.
You have 5. Excellent. Perfect. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great. I'm still missing 2. Did they perhaps break in transit? That is unfortunately common these days.
Most of this is all that we had.
Oh, damn. Well, all right. Well,
What was the chick's name?
Atelka.
Yeah.
He kind of looks. He goes, well, I've already paid Atelka for the goods, but that's okay. That is neither your fault nor your issue, so we'll take. And he kind of just goes and marks out 5 silver and hands 5 silver shillings. He goes, I do appreciate the courier, the delivery, much appreciated. Tell. Wait, you said you got these from one of my students. Are you not students then? What are you doing here?
We're just helping move it along.
I appreciate that. Well done navigating this complex maze of stone and architecture. These crazy people like to have things layered on top of one another. That being said, 5 vials, 5 silver. Seems like a fair tip for bringing these back to me. I do appreciate you. Thank you so much. Now, if you don't mind, I have a fine bottle of Estalian brandy that I would like to get back to.
Thank you kindly.
Shuts the door. Lock. Y'all made 5 silver
now.
All right.
You guys can have, I don't know how you want to split it up, but you guys can have a good portion of it, if not all of the 5 silver, because I've been...
You got some money.
You've been making money.
Yeah.
Okay. You all make your way back towards...
I'll take at least one of it if you guys are cool. You guys can have 2 or whatever.
Okay.
That's totally out of character. In character, Wolfhart would not part with any gold.
You guys begin to make your way back to the Boatman. Winding your way back along some of these side streets, leaving the university, heading towards the docks, heading back towards the Street of 100 Taverns. Skirting the Königplatz. It's easy to do, actually. You can just basically cut through the Königplatz. But as you do, you begin to look around. The sky is now dark. The streets, dark. Light on the streets themselves are spread by the torches and candles that are set outside of homes to create just small beacons of light in the dark. The entire city becomes a bit of a darker beast when the sun is down. I'd like each of you to give me an easy plus 40 perception test if you could.
$22 under 83.
I'm gonna use fortune and reroll.
Okay.
99.
Oh boy.
+2.
There we go.
There we go. Okay. Each of you, minus Luca, begin to hear the sounds of footsteps on the cobblestones behind you. Now, again, it's late. The guard patrols that you see are moving in groups of 6 with a torch held by one member of each of them. Most people have made their way off of the streets, either to home or to taverns. But each of the 3 of you, Wolfhart, Segemund, Kroppa, hear these sounds of footsteps from behind you. It's easy to look over your shoulder and see that as you're making your way back to the Street of 100 Taverns, as you're making your way back to the Boatman Inn, you have a tail. It's 2 people that, Kroppa, you recognize if you look at them. One of them was scratching his ear pretty fervently at you.
These motherfuckers.
You turn through the Königplatz. You begin to head down yet another side street. And they begin to follow you again, keeping up with you, making every turn you make.
I'd like to, having noticed this, I'd like to veer off away from the party.
Okay.
And try to do a, lose them around a corner to then loop up behind them and start following them.
Okay. So Wolfhart, totally allowed. We will talk about the logistics of what that means. I would also add that as an aficionado of Warhammer lore, you know a fair bit. More so, but with Wolfhart's career, there's just a natural inherent danger with that because you would be getting off of any level of main road and onto back alley. So as long as you're willing to take that little bit of risk.
I wouldn't necessarily do a full loop of the block type of thing. It'd be more of dart down an alley, around a corner, disappear, wait for them to pass, and then come out and follow them. So basically just branch off, halt, wait for the party to keep walking, them to follow, and then I just kind of veer back to that street and continue on.
Okay. So you kind of duck around and do exactly that. You're able to duck into a side alley and just kind of get into the darkness and turn around. You could find a little small space. Kroppa, Segemund, Luca, do you guys do anything or do you just keep walking?
If he's doing that, I'm not gonna deviate. Yeah.
I don't even know what's going on.
Even better.
True.
As the 3 of you continue to walk, preparing to take the turn that'll take you onto the Street of 100 Taverns, Wolfhart, you see as the 2 cultists pass the alley that you're on, the 2 individuals pass the alley that you're on. They don't even notice you. They don't even bother looking at you. They're too busy following the group.
Scratching their damn ears.
I'm going to keep a good distance away from them and try to tail them.
Okay. You step out 15, 20 feet back. More.
Probably a little more.
Okay. 20, 30 feet-ish.
Yeah, I'd be basically at the fringes of what I can.
Okay. Wolfhart, give me a perception check. Plus 40.
Perception, you said?
Sir.
24 under 40 or 83.
Okay. Segemund, Luca, Kroppa, you continue to walk.
Why?
You take the right that's going to put you onto the Street of 100 Taverns. You can see, I should say, you prepare to take that right. You can see the street in front of you. Wolfhart, behind them, 30, 40 feet, are the 2 individuals. Behind the individuals, another 30 to 40 feet is you. With that success, you hear a twang sound. It's a sound you know. It's the sound of a crossbow being fired. Rapid succession. Thunk, thunk, twang, twang. You watch as crossbow bolts strike into the back of these two individuals, each one getting shot pretty much square between their shoulder blades, just off center of their spine, punching into, you can only assume, a lung or something serious. And both of them fall dead from those shots. The bolts came, you heard the crossbow, and the bolts came from behind you.
So it came from behind me, like over my shoulder type of thing?
Over your shoulder, except with a bit more of a downward angle.
Yeah. I would immediately turn, like, kind of dive and try to peek back up behind me to see if I can see where it came from.
Okay. Kroppa, Segemund, Luca, you don't know this happened yet. You don't hear anything yet because you're too far away to hear the shots. You do hear the faint and like the sound of a body falling on the ground. And as the three of you turn to look at the bodies that are now laying on the ground, you watch Wolfhart dive into the muck and the filth of the edge of one of the streets, trying to get out of whatever he thinks he's going to get out of. And you'll have to tune in next time to find out more.
Fair enough.
So Wolfhart, as you jump into the gutter, Segemund, Luca, Kroppa, you turn around, you see two bodies. We'll have to find out what happens next time.
I wouldn't dive in the cover. I'd go for like an alley or door or something.
Okay, we'll say you're trying to dive into an alley. But with that, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to the gentlemen over at darkforgemedia.com for supporting us and making our intro video. And thank you to all of you listening who allow me to do this and say, gentlemen, each of you get 10 experience. Yay. Nothing crazier yet. But each of you are going to get 10 experience. And we will pick this up next time. And if you like what you heard, consider giving us a like, throw us a subscription, show us some love over on YouTube, share our little game here. Bring more people into the family and into the fold of Dead Sons Company. If you really like what you heard and you want to support us, feel free to head over to patreon.com/DeadSonsCo. Give us a little love over there, Dead Sons Company on Patreon. Easy to find. And if you want to see some of our other ventures into the tabletop world, head over to deadsonsco.com. You'll find links to our socials, to our Patreon, to everything under the sun, including the Tainted Hive Season 1, the Tainted Hive Season 2, Daggerheart, Mothership, and everything else. But until next time, we are Dead Sons Company. Thank you for joining us, and this is the Grimdark Chronicles.